Max Christie is a monster. Max Christie's averaging nearly 9 points a game, shooting almost 45% from the field and grabbing nearly 3 rebounds a night. That's solid production for a young guard finding his way on a new team. He's got just over 1 assist per game, but the real value isn't just in the raw numbers, it's in how he's doing it. The Mavericks needed a young, versatile player, and Christie's stepping right into that role. At 6'6" and just under 200 pounds, he's got the perfect frame for a modern wing. He's not just some young guy with upside, he's producing right now. He started 25 games this season before the trade, proving he can handle real minutes against starters. And with a career three-point percentage just above 37%, he's bringing some legit floor spacing to Dallas. That's exactly what they need next to Kyrie and Anthony Davis. His defensive impact's already showing up too. He's guarding multiple positions, using his length and footwork to stay in front of guys, and showing the kind of effort you want to see from a young player hungry for minutes. The Mavericks didn't just get another bench piece, they got a guy who could be part of their core going forward. This trade wasn't just about Anthony Davis. Max Christie's the kind of player who could turn out to be way more valuable than people realize. He's got a defined role, and he's excelling in it. Dallas made sure to clear a path for him too. Moving Quentin Grimes opened up more opportunities. That wasn't an accident. They wanted Christie, and he's proving why. His scoring efficiency's impressive. Shooting almost 45% overall, he's making the most of his touches. He's not out there forcing bad shots or playing outside of his skill set. He knows what he does well, and he sticks to it. That's exactly what you want from a young player on a contending team. He's learning how to play winning basketball while still growing into his full potential. The Mavericks' backcourt rotations got some serious depth, but Christie's making his case for more minutes. Jaden Hardy, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dante Exum, and Brandon Williams are all fighting for playing time, but Christie's two-way ability gives him an edge. He's not just an offensive player. He's not just a defensive specialist. He can do both. That versatility's why he's already getting real minutes in Dallas. Dallas fans might have been focused on Anthony Davis, but Christie's quickly becoming a fan favorite too. He's proving he belongs on a team with championship aspirations. This isn't just about potential. He's showing he can contribute right now. And that's huge for a team trying to build chemistry after such a major trade. His ability to guard different positions is something that stands out immediately. He's not just stuck on one matchup, he can switch on to different types of players and hold his own. That's an underrated skill that doesn't always show up in the box score, but it's one of the reasons he's earning minutes. His rebounding's solid for a guard too. Almost 3 boards a game may not sound like much, but for a young perimeter player, that's a great sign. He's not just standing around waiting for the ball to come to him. He's crashing the glass and helping out. Those extra possessions add up. And let's talk about his three-point shooting again, because it's a real weapon. He's shooting over 37% for his career, and that's not a small sample size anymore. He's shown he can hit threes consistently, and that's exactly what Dallas needs. With so many defenders focused on Kyrie, Christie's getting open looks, and he's knocking them down. That's a game changer for the Mavericks spacing. His efficiency's no joke. Almost 45% from the field means he's taking good shots and making them count. He's not out there chucking up bad looks or hurting the offense. He's finding his spots and converting at a high rate. That's exactly what you want from a young player still adjusting to a new system. It's wild to think about how young he is too. This is only his 3rd season in the league, and he's already proving he belongs on a team trying to compete for a championship. He's not a project. He's a real contributor right now, and that's huge for Dallas, especially after shaking up their roster in such a massive way. His impact's showing up on both ends of the floor. Offensively, he's spacing the floor, moving without the ball, and making smart decisions. Defensively, he's taking on tough assignments and holding his own. That's exactly the kind of player the Mavericks need to fill out their rotation. The trade shook things up in a big way, but it's clear Dallas got a serious piece in Christie. His role might evolve as the season goes on, but one thing's for sure, he's earning his minutes and proving he belongs. I mean, let's look at his 2 games as a Mav so far. Max Christie wasted no time making an impact in his Mavericks debut. 15 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, and a perfect 4 for 4 from beyond the arc. That's not just a good first game. It's an incredible way to introduce yourself to a new team. And he did all that without even getting a full practice in. Just one shoot around, and he's already making a difference. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day during the season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, Christie. Dallas expected him to ease into things, maybe play a few minutes off the bench while he learned the system. But 31 minutes. That's a clear sign the coaching staff trusts him already. And why wouldn't they? He played like he belonged, stepping up in big moments, making smart plays and knocking down every three he took. That's not just a decent debut, it's the kind of performance that turns heads. The Mavericks didn't just throw him into garbage time either. He was in the game when it mattered. That's huge. A lot of times, a young player will get minutes early, but when things tighten up in the fourth quarter, the coach will pull them. Not Christie. He stayed on the floor, helping Dallas close things out. That speaks volumes about how much faith the team already has in him. And let's talk about that rebounding. 9 boards for a guard, that's elite level effort. He's not just standing around waiting for the ball to come to him. He's getting after it, making sure Dallas secures extra possession. That's something every team needs, especially when playing against a tough physical team like the 76ers. His defensive assignment, not easy. The 76ers have some serious talent in the backcourt, but Christie didn't back down. He showed why the Mavericks felt comfortable moving Quentin Grimes. They needed a player who could take on those tough matchups, and Christie's already proving he's up for the challenge. That's a lot of responsibility for a young player, but he's embracing it. It's clear Dallas sees Christie as a key piece moving forward. They didn't just take him as a throw-in. They made a move to clear a path for him. Trading Grimes wasn't about Martin versus Grimes. It was about Christie stepping into a bigger role. And after a performance like that, it's safe to say they made the right call. Shooting 4 for 4 from deep in your first game with a new team is ridiculous. That's efficiency at its best. He wasn't just throwing up shots hoping they'd fall. He was taking smart, in-rhythm looks and drilling every single one. That's exactly the kind of shooting Dallas needs. Playing next to Kyrie and Anthony Davis means there will be open looks. And if Christie keeps hitting at this rate, he's going to be a major weapon for this team. His overall shooting percentage, nearly flawless. He played under control, made smart decisions, and never looked out of place. That's rare for a player in his position. Usually, there's an adjustment period, a game or two where things feel a little off. Not for Christie. He stepped in and immediately looked comfortable. That says a lot about his confidence and his ability to adapt. This is a player still developing, still figuring things out. If this is what he's doing in his first game with Dallas, imagine what he'll look like once he gets more reps with the team. That's an exciting thought for the Mavericks. Christie's role is only going to grow from here. The Mavericks didn't bring him in just to sit on the bench. He's going to get real minutes, take on tough defensive assignments, and provide a major boost to their floor spacing. He's proving he's ready for all of it. It's easy to focus on Anthony Davis after such a massive trade, but Christie deserves just as much attention for what he's bringing to this team. His debut was just the beginning. The Mavericks got themselves a serious player, and it's already paying off. But then let's talk about his game tonight versus the Celtics. Max Christie just keeps proving why the Mavericks believe in him. 15 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a block against one of the best teams in the league. That's another big-time performance, and he did it on the road in a game no one expected Dallas to win. The Celtics are a powerhouse. They're loaded with talent. They've been dominant all season, and the Mavericks were missing Anthony Davis. This was supposed to be a tough night for Dallas, but Christie stepped up again. He played with confidence, attacked the glass, and made sure the Mavericks stayed competitive against one of the top teams in the league. His scoring was solid, 6 for 13 from the field. Not the most efficient night, but he kept attacking and finding ways to contribute. He wasn't afraid to take shots, and that's exactly what Dallas needs from him. He got to the free throw line 5 times too, showing that he's not just settling for jumpers. He's willing to drive, absorb contact, and get to the stripe. And let's talk about those rebounds again. 6 boards for a guard against a team as physical as the Celtics. That's effort. That's hustle. He's not just playing his role. He's making winning plays, getting Dallas extra possessions, and showing that he's willing to do the dirty work. That's the kind of energy this team needs, especially without Anthony Davis in the lineup. His playmaking was on display too. 4 assists show that he's not just looking for his own shot. He's keeping the ball moving, setting up teammates, and playing within the flow of the offense. That's huge for a young player still getting comfortable with his new team. He's fitting in seamlessly, making the right reads, and proving that he's more than just a scorer. Defensively, he made his presence felt again. One block doesn't tell the whole story, but it's another sign that he's staying engaged on that end. He's using his length, contesting shots, and making life tough for opposing guards. The Mavericks need that kind of perimeter defense, especially against a team like Boston, and Christie's delivering. And even though his 3-point shot didn't fall tonight, going 0 for 3 from deep, he didn't let it affect the rest of his game. That's the sign of a mature player. Some guys let a cold shooting night take them out of rhythm, but Christie kept finding ways to contribute. He still finished with a positive plus-minus at +7, which tells you just how much of an impact he had on the floor. And when the Celtics started fouling late, Christie stepped up to the line and knocked down one of 2 free throws. That might not seem like a big deal, but those moments matter. The pressure's on, the game's tight, and he stays composed. That's what you want to see from a young player in big moments. The Mavericks didn't come into this game as favorites. No one expected them to pull off an upset on the road against a team like Boston, especially without their newly acquired superstar. But Christie showed up and played like he belonged. He's proving he can handle tough matchups, contribute in multiple ways, and give Dallas exactly what they need. This is only his second game with the team, and he's already making a difference. The Mavericks didn't just get a throw-in with this trade, they got a player who's ready to contribute right now. And if this is just the beginning, Dallas fans should be really excited about what's next for Christie. But I want to dive into some of his advanced numbers to show why he's going to be so good in Dallas, starting with scoring. By the way, I gotta show Lakers highlights, because obviously there isn't enough Mavs highlights. But Max Christie's scoring efficiency is exactly what makes him a perfect fit alongside Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson. His true shooting percentage is over 60%, which is better than nearly 78% of players in the league. That means every shot he takes is incredibly valuable. And when he shares the floor with 3 high-volume scorers, that kind of efficiency is exactly what the Mavericks need. Kyrie and Anthony Davis are 2 of the best offensive players in the league. Kyrie's putting up nearly 25 points per game while ranking in the top 72% in true shooting percentage. Davis is even better, scoring over 25 points a night with a true shooting percentage that's better than 73% of players. That's an elite scoring duo that demands attention from defenses every single possession. And when you add Klay Thompson, who's hitting nearly 3 threes per game and still scoring more than 78% of players, defenses simply won't have enough energy to focus on Max Christie. That's where his advanced efficiency numbers come in. Christie is scoring almost 9 points per game on just over 6 shot attempts. That's an insane level of efficiency. His points per field goal attempt sit at 1.1, the same as Kyrie and Davis. That means he's maximizing every single touch, and that's what makes him so dangerous in this lineup. Defenders aren't going to be focused on him when they have to worry about Kyrie, Davis, and Thompson. And that's exactly why Christie's going to thrive. Christie's effective field goal percentage sits at nearly 56%, which is already better than 65% of the league. That's right, in the same range as Kyrie, who's at nearly 56% and actually better than Klay, who's sitting at 54%. The difference is that Christie isn't taking nearly as many shots, which means when he does take them, they're high-quality looks. Playing with 3 elite scorers is only going to make his shot selection even better because the defense simply won't have enough players to close out on him every time. The way Christie operates within the Mavericks offense is exactly what makes him so valuable. He's not a player who needs a ton of touches to be effective. He's scoring 8.6 points per game on just 6.3 shot attempts, while still putting up a true shooting percentage over 60%. That's an incredible sign of a player who understands his role and plays within it perfectly. That's exactly the kind of player you need, alongside high-usage stars like Kyrie and Davis. Kyrie takes over 18 shots per game, and Davis takes more than 18 as well. That means most of the offensive possessions are going to run through them, but Christie doesn't need high volume to make a serious impact. He's taking smart shots, converting them at an elite rate, and playing within the flow of the offense. That's why he's such a perfect fit for this team. And then there's Klay Thompson, who's still a major three-point weapon, hitting 3 triples per game and scoring more than 13 points a night. His shot attempts sit at 11 per game, which is more than Christie. But the key difference is that Klay's also a player who thrives off open looks created by star playmakers. That's exactly what Christie's going to get as well. He's already shown that he can shoot over 37% from deep for his career. And once he starts getting even better looks playing next to these stars, that number's only gonna rise. One of the most underrated parts of Christie's game is his ability to score efficiently inside the arc. He's hitting 1.5 two-pointers per game on high efficiency, which means he's finishing well in traffic and picking his spots wisely. That's going to be huge when playing next to Davis, who commands so much attention in the paint. When defenses collapse on Davis, Christie's going to get even more clean looks inside, and based on his efficiency numbers, he's going to convert them at a high rate. His scoring per shot attempt is sitting at 1.2, which is right in line with Kyrie and Davis. That's an insane stat because it means he's maximizing every possession, just like 2 of the most elite scorers in the game. That's not normal for a young player. Most young players need time to adjust and usually take inefficient shots while figuring things out, but Christie's already playing like a seasoned veteran. That's why the Mavericks are so excited about him. And when you put all of this together, it becomes clear why Christie is going to be so good in this lineup. Davis's gravity in the paint is going to open up driving lanes and second chance opportunities. Klay's presence as a 3-point shooter is going to force defenses to stay honest, giving Christie even more space to operate. And Christie himself is going to make life easier for everyone by staying efficient, taking smart shots, and playing his role at an elite level. But then we can do the same for their teamwork stats. Christie's net rating is just above 0, meaning when he's on the floor, the Mavericks are slightly better than when he's off. That might not seem huge compared to Kyrie's plus 3.8, Davis's plus 1.4, or Clay's incredible plus 5.5, but here's the key. Christie's doing this without having the same usage or experience. He's already holding his own. And once he's playing alongside 3 established stars, those numbers are going to take off. Kyrie is in the top 85% of the league in mixed teamwork ranking, meaning his presence creates a bigger positive margin than most players. He's got an offensive rating of nearly 119, which is in the elite range, and his team scores 2.3 points per 100 possessions more when he's on the court than when he's off. That's the definition of a game changer. Davis is right behind him with a team on-off impact of plus 2.2, meaning his presence alone lifts the team's performance in a significant way. And then there's Clay, who has an insane plus 5 on-off impact, one of the best in the league. Now here's where Christie fits in. His offensive rating is already solid at 114.7, and his defensive rating is nearly identical at 114.5. That means he's right on the edge of being a true positive impact player. And once he starts playing alongside Kyrie, Davis, and Clay, that number is only gonna rise. He's already in the top 56% of the league in mixed teamwork ranking, meaning he's creating just as much of a positive margin as more than half the NBA. That's an incredible foundation to build on, especially for a young player. One of the most underrated parts of Christie's impact is his games with positive plus-minus percentage. He's at 44.7%, which means nearly half the time he steps on the court, his team outperforms the opponent. That's already a great mark for a player in his role, and it's only going to improve once he's sharing the floor with 3 established stars. Kyrie's at 57.5%, Davis is at 57.1%, and Clay's at a ridiculous 59.1%, which is one of the highest in the league. That tells you all you need to know. When those 3 play, good things happen for their team. And once Christie starts benefiting from the spacing, playmaking, and defensive attention those 3 command, his numbers are gonna take a major leap. Another key stat is Christie's on-off impact. Right now, it sits at minus 0.4, meaning the Mavericks are about the same with him on the court as they are with him off. That's a neutral number, but here's the thing. It's neutral while he's still adjusting to his role. Kyrie's plus 2.3, Davis is plus 2.2, and Clay is plus 5. Those are massive numbers. And once Christie gets comfortable playing with them, his own on-off impact is going to start creeping into positive territory. Think about what happens when you put all 4 on the floor together. Kyrie is one of the best offensive creators in the league. Davis is an elite two-way big who elevates every lineup, and Clay is still one of the most impactful floor spacers in the game. That means Christie's role becomes even more streamlined. He won't be asked to do too much, just play to his strengths, knocking down open shots, playing solid defense, and making smart plays. And when a player like Christie, who's already showing solid efficiency and positive impact numbers, gets to play in a lineup that lifts nearly everyone around them, his stats are gonna skyrocket. Kyrie's offensive rating is nearly 119, which puts him among the best scorers in the league. He's constantly creating advantages, whether it's for himself or his teammates. And that's where Christie is gonna thrive. Kyrie forces defenses into impossible decisions. Either help on him and risk leaving a shooter open, or play him straight up and get burned. That's where Christie comes in. His offensive rating is already sitting at 114.7, and that's without getting the kind of wide open looks he'll see playing next to Kyrie. His shooting numbers are already efficient, but once he starts getting more clean looks, his scoring is going to become even more valuable. Davis is right there too, with an offensive rating of 115.4, and his presence in the paint completely changes how defenses have to play. He's such a dominant inside scorer that teams have no choice but to send extra attention his way. That means perimeter players get more space. And for a guy like Christie, who's already making the most of his opportunities, that's going to be a massive boost. His true shooting percentage is over 60%, which is already better than most players in the league. Now imagine what that number looks like when he starts getting even better shot quality. And then there's Clay, whose offensive rating sits at nearly 118. His ability to stretch the floor is legendary, and that means defenders can't help often. That's another major advantage for Christie. If teams have to stick close to Clay, that opens up even more driving lanes and opportunities for him to operate efficiently. Christie's already showing he can make an impact, but in this lineup, he's going to have more chances to attack in space, finish at the rim, and knock down open shots at an even higher rate. On the defensive side, Christie's already showing he can hold his own. His defensive rating sits at 114.5, which is solid for a young player still adjusting to a new team. But when you put him next to Davis, that number is only going to improve. Davis's defensive rating is 114, which ranks in the top 86% of players in the league. He's one of the best rim protectors in the game, and when you have a shot blocker like that behind you, it makes perimeter defense so much easier. Christie's going to benefit from that immediately, being able to play more aggressively on the ball, knowing Davis is anchoring the paint. Clay's defensive rating is even better, sitting at 112.3. That's one of the best marks on the Mavericks, and it shows just how valuable he still is as a two-way player. He's not just spacing the floor, he's still making a major impact on defense. And that's another reason why Christie's going to thrive. When you're playing next to elite defenders, your job becomes so much simpler. He's already showing flashes of being a solid defender, but in this system, his defensive numbers are only going to get better. The biggest takeaway from all these numbers? Christie's already proving he belongs. His net rating might not be as high as the others yet, but he's trending in the right direction. His positive plus-minus percentage shows that he's giving his team a chance to win nearly every time he plays. His on-off numbers suggest he's right on the edge of becoming a real difference maker. And now, he's about to step into a lineup with 3 players who dominate the game in ways that directly benefit his skill set. But then lastly, I want to talk about their usage. Max Christie's usage rate might be low compared to Kyrie, Anthony Davis, and Klay Thompson, but that's exactly why he's such a perfect fit for this Mavericks team. He's only using 14.1% of Dallas's possessions when he's on the floor, ranking in the bottom 23% of players. That might seem insignificant at first, but it's actually one of the biggest reasons why he's so valuable in this lineup. He doesn't need a ton of touches to make an impact, and that's exactly what Dallas needs, alongside their high usage stars. Kyrie is handling nearly 27% of possessions, putting him in the top 89% of the league. That's exactly what you'd expect from one of the best shot creators in basketball. He's taking almost 19 shots per game, getting to the free throw line over 4 times a night, and setting up teammates with nearly 5 assists per game. That means he's commanding a massive portion of the Mavericks' offense, making plays nearly every trip down the floor. When he's out there, the ball is in his hands, and the offense runs through him. That's his role, and he thrives in it. Anthony Davis is even higher, sitting at an absurd 30.6% usage rate, which ranks in the top 96% of players. He's taking just over 18 shots a night, getting to the line nearly 8 times, and creating plays for others while being the team's defensive anchor. Davis is one of the most involved players in the entire NBA, and his presence alone shifts the way opponents have to defend. Whether he's catching lobs, operating in the post, or drawing double teams, he's the focal point of any lineup he's in. Then there's Klay Thompson, who's sitting at 21.3% usage, putting him in the top 69% of players. He's taking nearly 12 shots a game, but his ability to impact the game without dominating possessions is what makes him so valuable. Klay has built his entire career on being a lethal off-ball threat who can score without needing the ball in his hands all the time. He's not a primary creator. He's a finisher, a sniper, a player who makes the most of his opportunities. That's exactly what makes Christie such a perfect piece next to them. He's proving he can contribute without needing a high volume of touches. He's only taking just over 6 shots per game, but he's making the most of them with elite efficiency. He's getting to the free throw line nearly 2 times a night, showing he's willing to attack when the opportunity presents itself. And most importantly, he's playing within himself, only averaging 1.5 assists and just under 1 turnover per game. That's a sign of a player who understands his role and executes it to perfection. Now think about what happens when all 4 of them share the floor. Kyrie's handling the ball, running the offense, and creating for himself and others. Davis is working in the paint, drawing extra defenders, and putting pressure on the rim. Klay is spacing the floor, moving without the ball, and keeping defenders honest. That leaves Christie in the perfect position to thrive. He won't have to create shots on his own. He won't have to force plays that aren't there. He'll be able to focus on what he does best, taking smart shots, finishing plays, and playing winning basketball. Christie's low usage rate isn't a sign that he's not involved. It's a sign that he's efficient. He's making an impact without needing to dominate the ball, which is exactly what you need in a lineup with multiple high usage stars. He's not out there looking for his own shot every possession. He's playing within the flow of the game, taking what the defense gives him, and making every touch count. That's a major difference from Kyrie, who's handling nearly 75 possessions per game. Kyrie is an elite shot creator, and he's constantly making decisions with the ball in his hands, whether it's pulling up for a jumper, getting to the rim, or setting up a teammate. He's one of the most involved players in the league. That's why he's so valuable. But it also means the Mavericks need complementary players who don't require high usage to be effective. Davis is the same way. He's using just under 70 possessions per game, which means when he's on the court, he's at the center of the offense. Whether he's finishing inside, drawing fouls, or setting up teammates, he's one of the biggest offensive focal points in the entire NBA. That's another reason why having a player like Christie is so important. He doesn't need plays called for him to contribute. Even Clay, who has a much lower usage rate than Kyrie or Davis, is still taking significantly more shots per game than Christie. He's putting up nearly 12 attempts per night and still maintaining high efficiency. That's the blueprint for Christie. He's already showing flashes of being a knockdown shooter, and once he gets more comfortable in his role, his shot volume is naturally going to increase. But the key is that Christie doesn't have to force anything. He's not expected to carry the offense. He's not expected to create his own shot every time down the floor. He's in a perfect situation where his role is clearly defined. Play solid defense, take efficient shots, and capitalize on the openings created by his teammates. The best part about Christie's game is that he knows exactly how to play alongside stars. He doesn't need to over-dribble or try to create his own looks when he doesn't have to. He understands spacing, he understands timing, and he knows when to attack and when to let the game come to him. That's a skill not every young player has, and the numbers back it up. Christie is only using 14.1% of his team's possessions, yet he's still scoring efficiently. He's taking just over 6 shots per game, but putting up a true shooting percentage over 60%. That's rare for a young player. Usually, guys with lower usage rates struggle to maintain high efficiency because they're not in rhythm. But Christie's the exact opposite. He's finding ways to make an impact, even in a limited role. That's why he's going to fit in seamlessly with Kyrie, Davis, and Clay. He's not going to take away touches from the stars. He's going to complement them. He's going to be the player who fills in the gaps, makes the smart plays, and takes advantage of every opportunity he gets. The Mavericks didn't just get a young player with potential. They got a guy who already understands how to play winning basketball. And that's exactly why he's going to thrive next to Kyrie, Davis, and Clay. Overall, though, Max Christie is in the perfect situation to thrive in Dallas. At 21 years old, he's stepping into a team that has elite talent, veteran leadership, and the exact kind of system that maximizes what he does best. Playing alongside Anthony Davis, Kyrie, Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively, Spencer Dinwiddie, Najee Marshall, and PJ Washington is going to take his game to a whole new level. He's not just another young player with potential. He's in a position where his strengths are going to be magnified and his weaknesses are going to be covered by the elite talent around him. The first reason Christie is going to thrive is spacing. With Kyrie running the offense, Klay Thompson as a sharpshooter, and PJ Washington stretching the floor, Christie is never going to have to deal with defenses locking in on him. He's already shown that he's an efficient scorer, posting a true shooting percentage over 60%. That number is only going to go up when he starts getting even more open looks playing next to these guys. Kyrie is one of the best shot creators in the league, drawing attention every time he has the ball. That means defenses have to make tough choices, either help on Kyrie and risk leaving shooters open, or stay home on their assignments and let Kyrie go to work. When Christie is spotting up, cutting to the basket, or finding space in transition, he's going to get easy buckets just because of the attention Kyrie commands. Then there's Anthony Davis, who changes everything inside. He's not just an elite scorer, he's a dominant interior presence who forces teams to collapse in the paint. That's a dream scenario for a young player like Christie. When Davis rolls to the basket or posts up, defenses have no choice but to send extra bodies. That leaves guys like Christie wide open on the perimeter or cutting lanes, where he can use his athleticism to finish high-quality looks. Klay Thompson's presence adds another level of danger for defenses. He's still one of the most respected shooters in the league, and that means defenders simply can't help off of him. That spacing is going to create so many easy opportunities for Christie. Even if Christie isn't hitting threes at the same volume as Klay, he's going to get more catch and shoot chances than ever before. And for a player with his efficiency, that's a game changer. But it's not just about scoring. Christie's defense is another reason he's going to thrive in Dallas. He's already proving he can guard multiple positions, and now he gets to play in a system that features some of the best defensive anchors in the league. Anthony Davis is one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. Derek Lively is an emerging defensive force. Daniel Gafford brings even more shot blocking and rebounding. When you've got that kind of size behind you, it makes perimeter defense so much easier. Christie can play aggressively on the perimeter, knowing he has elite rim protectors backing him up. That allows him to be even more disruptive against opposing guards and wings. which is exactly what the Mavericks need from him. And then there's PJ Washington and Najee Marshall, two physical, versatile defenders who bring toughness to the lineup. Washington can guard multiple positions, and Marshall is a scrappy, high-energy player who makes life miserable for opponents. This is the kind of defensive environment that's going to help Christie grow even faster. He doesn't have to be a lockdown defender right away, but he's in a system that's going to bring out the best in him on that end. Another big reason Christie is going to thrive is his role. He doesn't have to be a high-usage player to make an impact. He's not being asked to be the number 1 or even number 2 option. That means he gets to focus on what he does best, taking efficient shots, playing smart defense, and making winning plays. That's why he fits so well with Spencer Dinwiddie too. Dinwiddie is another ball handler who can take some of the pressure off Kyrie. When he's on the floor, he's creating opportunities for others, and Christie is going to benefit from that playmaking. Dinwiddie's ability to penetrate and collapse defenses means Christie is going to get more open shots and more chances to cut to the rim. The biggest advantage for Christie in Dallas is the balance between youth and experience. He's only 21, but he's surrounded by championship-level veterans like Kyrie and Clay, defensive stars like Davis, and young players like Lively, who are still growing into their roles. That mix is going to help him develop faster than if he were on a rebuilding team where he'd have to do too much too soon. Instead, he gets to grow in a winning environment. He gets to learn from some of the best players in the league. He gets to take high-quality shots instead of forcing tough looks. And most importantly, he gets to contribute right away without the pressure of carrying an offense. Dallas didn't just get a young player in Christie, they got someone who's ready to make an impact now and keep getting better for years to come. This is the perfect situation for him, and as the season goes on, he's only going to prove more and more why he's such a valuable piece to this Mavericks team. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day during this season. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.